extends a rebound. JP Morgan Chase is telling small businesses, hey, apply with other banks because there's fears of fresh funds from the new relief program money that just came in will run out. Let's bring in former CIA station chief Daniel Hoffman. He is basically former station chief for Afghanistan and Pakistan. Sir, first I want to jump to this. It's great to have you on. Governor Cuomo is now saying the World Health Organization was too little too late, that it's basically that, and the critics have been saying that the WHO is in the back pocket of China. This is still an underlying controversy. Your reaction to that?
Well, I think for me, at least, as a retired CIA officer, I've always felt like we need to rely on our own collection. That means our forward deployed intelligence community, and in this case, medical professionals and diplomats to track what's really going on in China. And make no mistake, the Chinese are trying to have tried to conceal the severity of the coronavirus, the pandemic, from their own people, as well as the rest of the world. And they tried to make the WHO complicit in that process. We need to, of course, kind of trust or mistrust, but verify those international institutions and organizations with which we partner. There's still value for having them, and China's right now trying to increase their influence in WHO, and I think it would be in our interest not to allow that to happen.
Yeah, China is now increasing its donations to the WHO. But it's still a fraction of what U.S. taxpayers have given it. So this is a debate. This is a controversy. The focus should be on how China has been accused of being reckless, of not having the proper safety standards at its biolabs, where it was researching vaccines for things like AIDS and HIV. The co-founder of the HIV virus has said this is an industrial accident in China's labs. They were studying the HIV vaccine. He's been criticized for this. Here's what he is saying is going on inside China, that they have been woefully reckless in how they do their laboratory work. And basically people are getting infected inside those laboratories and walking out and infecting the population. You saw that in 2004 with the SARS virus. So do you feel like this is given enough vetting here in the United States that the focus should be more on China instead of the finger pointing inside the country?
Well, I can tell you just, again, from my own background, having served so many years overseas and focused on hard targets like China and Iran and Russia, and among others. Look, the Chinese system, it's a communist country with an opaque bureaucracy. They try to really conceal the truth from their own citizens. They use state-run media not to inform anyone accurately, but rather to disseminate propaganda in an effort to control their own population and then whitewash their reputation overseas. So I absolutely think we need to be holding China accountable. For sure, they need to pay a price for that, not only with their reputation worldwide, but also we need to take some concrete measures like ending the supply chain that goes right back to China. We should be leading the way with our European and other partners to ensure that there's a safe place to purchase essential goods. And hopefully that starts in the United States. There's an opportunity for us to come out of this with an economy that could grow at the expense of China. And I think that would obviously be a good thing for our national security and our economy.
So there is a backlash, a global backlash that's not given enough media attention here in the United States. We track the overseas headlines. We're seeing a global backlash. It's a breakout against China. In Europe, they're saying the relationship now between the EU and China is, quote, toxic. Certainly hearing that out of Germany, out of France. You're hearing it not just in Taiwan, you're hearing it in South Korea, in Singapore, in Malaysia. You're hearing it in places in South America. Now people are standing up and saying, China, you are to blame. The world cannot go through another pandemic that comes out of your borders. So are you seeing that too? We're seeing social media lighting up around the world saying, China, you got to stop. You got to take accountability.
Yeah, and we can say that all we want. I think the bottom line, though, is we need to take some action to make China pay for it. And the way we make them pay for it is by countering them, whether it's countering them in the South China Sea, which they're trying to militarize, or their debt trap diplomacy, where they're offering countries this opportunity to build a Belt Road Initiative, which is really just to China's benefit and not at all for those countries who were involved. I think we need the talented team over at Secretary Pompeo's State Department to lead the way diplomatically, to shine a bright spotlight on China's nefarious behavior, and then take concrete action and lead the way with our partners in Europe and in Asia and other places to show that, look, China's not a reliable partner, and they're out to take care of themselves. I've called this coronavirus and COVID-19 Xi Jinping's Chernobyl. You know, it's just very similar to what happened in the Soviet Union during that horrifically bad nuclear accident in 1986, where the Soviets had no idea what had happened and the people were put at risk. And I think the Chinese people understand that. And it's an opportunity for us to use Voice of America and our other institutions to make sure that the Chinese get the truth and understand how corrupt their government is and how little they care about human rights at home and abroad.
Yeah, China's basically triggered humanitarian crises and emerging market debt crises around the world. That's the next shoe to drop. We've been following that. You're going to see countries on the margin going deeply into bankruptcy and insolvency. Daniel Hoffman, former top CIA official, thank you so much for joining us. Come back soon.
Thanks. My pleasure.